Hi, welcome to Vegetarian Kitchen. My name is Arnie. Today I'm going to show you, okay, if you've watched Vegetarian Kitchen, you've noticed that I haven't cooked with any eggs. The reason is I don't cook with eggs. So if some of you don't use eggs, you know that breakfast can sometimes be not so much a challenge, but sometimes a little boring. Sometimes there are things you need to give up. Anyway, what I want to do is show you a couple of breakfast items that don't have eggs in them. Traditionally they do, but this time I'm not going to use eggs. Okay? There's another thing I want to show you too, is how I make a recipe. Okay? A lot of people cook, they don't use a recipe. Cooking is very creative. They just throw things together and make it. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're making something and you think, oh, I may want to make this again, then this is how I do it. I write down things and I create a recipe from nothing. Okay? So, before we get started, I got the casual look going. Okay? I've been on vacation, haven't cooked anything for 4 or 5 days. Okay? I got myself a new t-shirt. So, I'm ready, I'm primed, I'm ready to cook. Okay, so I take a bowl. So what I do, I'm going to make pancakes, okay? Vegetarian eggless pancakes. All right, and what I use for those is chapati flour. Okay, you see chapati flour? Chapati flour, you could use a semolina flour, regular white flour. Whole wheat flour is okay. It's a little heavy. Chapati flour is lighter. The regular, what would you call it? Like American white flour, is ground so fine that it just doesn't make a good pancake without the eggs. The eggs help to lighten it up. So what I've discovered is that chapati flour makes a good, a tasty pancake that is also it works. It's not gummy, it's not dense. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with 1.5 cups of chapati flour. Okay, I make these things all the time, these pancakes, but I've never measured this stuff, so it's kind of a mystery to me. Anyway, I throw it together. I'll go kind of I'll eyeball this. Okay, 1.5 cups of flour. So what I do is write it down. Chapati, 2 P's, right, and 1 T. Okay, chapati flour. Okay, 1.5 cups. All right, so that looks like a pretty good starting place. All right, so the next thing, I need oil. Okay. Usually when I cook, I use canola oil, olive oil, 2 kinds of olive oil, just a plain light olive oil. For cooking, I use an extra virgin olive oil if I want something that has a stronger olive oil flavor. And I use a lot of clarified butter or ghee. Okay? For this recipe, I like the canola oil. Sometimes I use like maybe an almond oil or walnut oil, you know, for special things, sesame oil. Okay, so start with 1 tablespoon. Okay? Doesn't look right to me. 2 tablespoons. That looks better, okay? 2 tablespoons of oil. Now, okay, write that down. 2 tablespoons oil. Okay, tablespoon, use a capital T. Teaspoon, use a small t, a little t. That's how I do it. So you should do it the way I do it. Okay, so I mix this around. Now the oil helps out. It helps to create, you know, when you're eating like a, of course this is not a pie crust, but when you make a pie crust, the oil helps to suspend the flour particles so that it's not, you know, they don't clump up and it's really dense. This will be a lot lighter, okay? Lighter than your dense pancakes, okay? So, next thing, I use some yogurt. I use yogurt more or less as an egg replacer. Okay, the eggs in pancakes do two things. One, it's a binding agent, holds it together, okay? The second thing is it also is a leavening agent, helps to make the pancakes rise. So what happens with the yogurt is, now I'm measuring out 1 tablespoon, okay? And I want more than that. I want 2 tablespoons, maybe 2.5. Let's try 2.5 tablespoons, see where we go from there. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, the yogurt will help when the pancakes are cooking. The yogurt will help. If you've ever cooked yogurt, it's not a lot of people do, but I have. It kind of has a tendency to bind up the protein molecules in the yogurt when they're subjected to heat. Will start to line up in a chain, and that'll cause things to. That causes the bind, gives it the binding action. Okay, yogurt also has acid in it. All right, and the acid in the yogurt will react with the baking soda and the baking powder to create a leavening effect. Okay, so where was I? 2.5 tablespoons yogurt. Okay, yogurt. All right, so next I need some sugar. Okay, so sugar here, I have 1 teaspoon. Okay, let's put in 2 teaspoons of sugar. See what that does for us. Okay, 2 little t sugar. Salt. Need a little bit of salt, a dash of salt. So a dash of salt comes out to be about 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, let's put in. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Salt. Okay. Mix it up. Okay, now I need to add the leavening agents. So, what I'm going to use is baking powder. Okay. Let's see. We'll start with 1/2 teaspoon. How's this look? 1/2 teaspoon. Spread it in there. It's not enough. Let's try a teaspoon. Okay. Teaspoon. 1 teaspoon baking powder. Okay, and now I have soda, baking soda, and we'll start. Let's do 1/2 teaspoon again. Let's go with 3/4. 1/2 and 1/4 equals 3/4. Did you know that? Okay, 3/4. 3/4 teaspoon, little t, baking soda. Baking powder actually has baking soda in it. It also has another ingredient that I cannot pronounce, and the two of them work together. One, the baking soda reacts to the acid in foods, like the acid in the yogurt. The other ingredient reacts when the food is subjected to heat. So then it releases air bubbles. So that's where your leavening action comes from. That's why things rise. Okay, next thing we need is milk. Okay, so what I want to do is, I know the consistency of this that I want, and what I normally do when I'm making this, I pour in some milk, stir it up, pour in a little more till I get the right consistency. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use 1/4 cup increments. Okay, so now yeah, okay, this is 1/4 cup. Right, so I fill it up to that line, 1/4 cup. I know this isn't going to be enough, but I'll write down milk, okay, C for cup, and over either to the right of it, actually to the right of it, why don't I do this, to the right of it I write down 1/4, okay, that's the first step, okay, that's not enough. See how dry it is? So let's add another 1/4 cup, see what that does, okay. And what we do here, make a note of it, 1/4. When I'm finished here, I'll add them all up and see how much milk I used. Yeah, see, it's too doughy still. Now the thing is, with this also,